I just want to preface this video by saying there are sexist and racist people out there that will judge Star Wars projects by the characters in them, the people in them, the actresses and actors, and the people that write them. But in this case, we're talking about these Star Wars fans in general. We're really talking about Star Wars fans that enjoy Star Wars as a whole and that enjoy the shows if the writing is good and if the story is good. Point blank, period. Kathleen Kennedy says a lot of women who step into the male-dominated Star Wars world struggle. Let's get into this. So says the Lucasfilm boss also opened up about her unwavering support for Leslie Headland's upcoming series, The Acolyte. Perfect, she should do that. Kathleen Kennedy is familiar with the difficulties that women often face in the male-dominated Star Wars world. In a brief conversation with the New York Times, Kennedy opened up about Leslie Headland's upcoming series, The Acolyte, and how she faced misogyny as the head of Lucasfilm. Operating within these giant franchises now, with social media and the level of expectation, it's terrifying, she told the publication. I think Leslie has struggled a bit with it. I think a lot of women who step into Star Wars struggle with this a bit more because of the fan base being so male-dominated. They sometimes get attacked in ways that can be quite personal. Moving on, it says Kennedy's comments come ahead of the release of the Disney Plus series, which some in the fandom are already slamming for its inclusion of several women and people of color in powerful positions. I have not read this article yet, but I have to stop here because this seems like a lot of BS to me. I know there's probably parts of that from people. I'm not saying there isn't, but I haven't seen any of this anywhere I've looked. And I know like even the people that aren't looking like forward to this show, especially in my comment sections, have said, "Oh, it's just going to be horrible. It's going to be terrible. The show looks horrible." But they don't say why. They don't explain this as any of the reasons. More so it's because of the light whip that they've seen they didn't like. More so it's because of the writing or Leslie Headland being, working for Harvey Weinstein. People aren't excited about that. So when Disney puts her in a powerful role for a Star Wars upcoming show, people are upset by that. And I don't know even enough about any of that stuff to put my 2 cents in, but I think that this has been said so often at Star Wars, at Disney Star Wars, is that people are just extremely racist, which there are those people, but that more so the fan base is extremely racist. And I really don't think that's the case at all, and I really would hope not. I think that people that actually do love Star Wars are very, very inclusive. I would hope at least most people are inclusive. I mean, we come from stories of green aliens and Jabba the Hutts and things like that. And I've loved all the characters in Star Wars since I was little, but I can't speak for everybody. I can only really speak for myself. But I'm just saying for myself personally, I have not seen a lot of this at all. Moving on, it says, why are there so many women, girls, and minority characters increasingly dominating the ranks of Jedi? Reads one of the comments on the Acolyte trailer, according to the Times, with others addressing a similar sentiment. Amandla Stanberg portrays a warrior with a complicated relationship with a Jedi Master, played by Squid Game's Lee Jung-jae. Jodie Turner-Smith takes on the role of the lesbian leader of a coven of witches, and Manny Jacinto, I hope I'm saying that right, plays Kimar, a shiftless drifter. The Matrix star Carrie Ann Moss appears as a Jedi named Master Indara. Again, I think that there's really no issue with any of this at all. I think Amandla seems like a good actress, and I think that she could play a very good character here, as long as she's written well. I think it even points back to when Rey was in Star Wars. Like, when I watched Episode 7, I was excited to see Rey as a character because I didn't really care who was the Jedi and who wasn't. Like, I just wanted to see a great story be written and be portrayed on the big screen. And they just ruined her character. I mean, they ruined a lot of characters just by their writing. So I think Disney needs to focus less on what the fan base is saying and just more so like, let's lock in here, like hire some great writers and hire some great directors, because they honestly left a very bad stain on the franchise with the sequel trilogy. Let's just be honest there. Moving on, it says, Kennedy expressed to the Times her steadfast support for The Acolyte, which marks the first Star Wars show to be created by a woman. I thought Deborah Chow created the Obi-Wan Kenobi show. Am I wrong here? I feel like I've heard this line about 1,000,000 times from Disney. My belief is that storytelling does need to be representative of all people, she said. That's an easy decision for me. Former Star Wars actress Daisy Ridley, Kelly Marie Tran, and Moses Ingram have spoken out about enduring sexist and or racist online bullying for their respective parts in the film's franchise's most recent trilogy. For her part, Headland limits her exposure to the online chatter surrounding her series, both good and bad. Instead, she relies on her friends to give her weather reports about what people are saying. I want to point out that I don't know much about Leslie, but I think this is the perfect way to go about this. Obviously, there's going to be good and bad, but when you're creating something, like, you just have to lock in and say, I want to create something good that people are going to enjoy. And this is her story. Obviously, she wants to tell it. I think she should be a little curious as to what the fans would want, but I think the weather reports are a good way to do it. She says, "As a fan myself, I know how frustrating some Star Wars storytelling in the past has been," she said, adding, "I felt it myself." She followed up the sentiment with a text message that read, "I stand by my empathy for Star Wars fans, but I do want to be clear, anyone who engages in bigotry, racism, or hate speech, I don't consider a fan." And I'm sure there are fans that do unfortunately fall into that category, and I think it's horrible. I genuinely think it's horrible. But I just think the way that Disney writes some of these characters is a big reason why like a lot of people come and attack these characters is because they're just not written well. I just want to point out that we have had really amazing characters that have represented a lot of different types of people, and I think that that's great. I really do think it's great, and I think that they should continue to do so. And I even think George did a lot of that. I mean, Princess Leia was not, first of all, she was a princess, which is pretty badass, but she was also leading the rebellion. So I think that George started a lot of that, and I think Disney maybe took it and kind of twisted some things. I really do feel like Disney just has written some of these characters so bad that it's left a big stain on how fans are looking at characters in general. I don't think it's just women or men. I think that more so it's just the Disney characters. Mandalorian was a great character. Obviously, a lot of people do like Mandalorian, but we can all agree that season three was lackluster, and people were upset that the character and Baby Yoda and everything, Grogu, it was a complete lackluster experience. Season three, and I think that it just goes to show that like you can create good characters that we all love, and you can go sell them and sell them at Target and stuff like that and make billions of dollars. But at the end of the day, when you're writing bad characters or bad scripts, we don't really want to see it. So we just don't want to see the franchise ruined and left stained any more than it already has. And I think the Acolyte is a good chance for Disney to kind of turn it around and create something that's going to be good. But yeah, I just want to end this off by saying like the Acolyte could be a great show. I'm looking forward to at least watching the first two episodes coming out here in a couple days. And I'm not going to judge it off any characters or anything like that. I just want the show to be written well, and I want the action and the story to be good. That's really it. So let me know what you guys think. I feel like this is kind of blown out of proportion with the Kathleen Kennedy stuff. I think that she just adds so much fuel to the fire, in my opinion, in a lot of these comments that she says. And I think at times Disney has been very belittling of just the regular fans, and the old original trilogy fans and prequel fans, and even probably some sequel fans. I think that Disney and Kathleen Kennedy and Bob Iger have said some things that have really made it kind of the fan base turn itself on itself, if that makes any sense. They've done a lot of things to make half the fan base not agree with the other half. If something needs to be figured out on their end, it's not really everybody else's fault. You bought the franchise, you wanted to make your movies, you wanted to make your shows, just make them good. That's all I really have to say. Disney just needs to do better.